The law of conservation states that in any physical change or chemical reaction, mass is constant. Due to the slight variation in mass, our experiment shows this.
For our experiment, the initial mass of the bag with the water and the tablet was 124.05 grams. The final mass of the tablet dissolved in the water was 123.86 grams. The overall change in mass was a loss of 0.19 grams. Also, the percent of mass loss was 0.15%. Overall, our data supports the law of conservation of mass because a loss of 0.19 grams is very close to 0 grams lost or changed. In other words, it's a very slight change in mass. For this lab, our reactant was a whale-borne tablet. In our lab, a chemical change took place. Our main evidence of this was the fizzing. Overall, it took about 2 minutes for the tablet to fully dissolve. Ultimately, it turned a sort of yellowish color. Due to this very slight change in mass that we experienced in our lab, it's very logical that an error occurred throughout the experiment, ultimately meaning that without this error, there would have been 0% change in mass. Possible sources of these errors are extra air left in the bag when we put the reactant in, improper reading of the scale, being off 1 or 2 milligrams, and also not laying all the material on the scale, or a small portion of it hanging off the side. If we put the bag of water on the scale and a small bit of the bag was hanging off, that portion of the water would most likely not have been weighed correctly. Lastly, equations need to be balanced because if an equation is unbalanced, it no longer supports the law of conservation of mass. In order for the mass to be neither created or destroyed, as stated in the law of conservation of mass, the reactants need to equal the products of all chemical equations.